And now, the latest from the AFM newsroom this morning.
Andrews University raises nearly $1 million to assist students. This is the AFM NewsDesk. The latest news stories from the Seventh-day Adventist World Church are up next. Hello, I'm Leorgie Samuels. Now to the news. This past year, hundreds of students benefited from two key financial aid options offered by Andrews University: the Student Life COVID-19 Emergency Fund and the President's Student Scholarship Fund. Together, the two forms of support provide immediate crisis assistance and address the long-term financial difficulties stemming from the pandemic. The Student Life COVID-19 Emergency Fund was created in direct response to the financial impact the pandemic had on Andrews students beginning in March 2020. Some students unable to return home lost their jobs on campus or in the community. The fund helps cover cost of rent and groceries, providing much needed support at necessary times. Originating in 1972, the President's Student Scholarship Fund assists students who have utilized all other financial aid resources: student loans, government aid, parent contributions, merit scholarships, and employment, and still need a final push to complete registration. Awarded once per semester in the form of a specific sum from $500 to $2,000, the scholarship allows students to complete their financial process and enroll at Andrews. Communication about and an invitation to contribute to both funds was sent out in spring 2020 via emails, phone calls, and social media to alumni and other willing individuals. In response, since April 2020, 532 donors have given gifts totaling nearly $1 million. Thanks to this generosity, 460 students received essential financial assistance from one of the two funds. Despite restrictions due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Adventist Development and Relief Agency ADRA Norway raised a record amount of $570,000 for projects in developing countries during the annual Ingathering program. The Adventist Church in Norway has a long tradition of door-to-door collection to support the projects of ADRA. However, due to the current lockdown, the leadership of ADRA Norway feared a massive drop in income from the annual Ingathering events, which would have badly hit educational projects in developing countries. ADRA leadership, in cooperation with Hope Channel Norway and the Norwegian Union Conference, devised a plan to inspire churches across the nation to find alternative ways of raising money other than the door-to-door collections, and encourage this as part of the Total Member Involvement Initiative, TMI. This plan was tremendously successful as churches and church members found alternative ways of raising money. Communication Director for ADRA Norway, Gry Hagen, is grateful for the way church members in Norway showed the force of TMI. Many of the projects supported by ADRA Norway focus on education for children, and Hagen explains that thanks to the efforts of church members, ADRA Norway did not have to let the students who depend on their programs to receive an education. ADRA Norway did not have to let down the students who depend on their programs to receive an education. And finally, this week, the Inter-American Adventist Theological Seminary held an online graduation ceremony program on February 27, 2021 for the dozens of ministers across the Inter-American Division Church territory who completed their degrees in 2020. The special program celebrated the hard work of nearly 100 pastors who, through the course of 4 or 6 summer semesters, studied for their graduate or postgraduate degree to better serve their congregations. Students from Costa Rica, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and Trinidad and Tobago enrolled at IATS completed master's degrees in pastoral ministry, biblical studies, or a doctoral degree in ministry. Due to the transition from face-to-face learning to online classes remotely, the year proved to be like no other. Before the pandemic, professors traveled for weeks to classes on the campus of the 10 Adventist university sites, where students were enrolled in the graduate programs. But last year, students in the 3 programs connected online from other countries, and they were able to study together. Those were the news stories that made the AFM NewsDesk this week. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can also get this podcast on demand. Just download the Google Podcast app from the Google Play Store. On behalf of all of us here at Advent Flame Media, I am Leandre Samuels, and this was the AFM NewsDesk.
That was the AFM Newsroom. The latest news stories from the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Catch us on Sabbath mornings at 7:45 a.m. on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. This was a production of Advent Flame Media, sharing hope, changing lives.